Wife cheated on me because of her insecurities and her friends. Hello, everyone. This is my story about my cheating wife because of her insecurities of me being a former amateur porn star. I just hope my story can help others. Be free to add any input. This is a long read. This is my first time posting, so please be easy, but I need an outside perspective on this. I left my wife of 7 years a year ago because she believed that I wasn't being reflective and caring for her feelings and cheated on me for it. In my past, I did amateur porn. I left due to how I was treated and how the company I was with treated my co-stars. I did 26 scenes with them, but outside of my work, I wasn't looking for sex. I wasn't looking for hookups. I want a person to connect with. Then I met my ex-wife, let's call her Sarah, at a bar in Cincy in '07, and we hit it off. I told her about my past work, but she seemed fine with it. We were both open with each other, and if I can be frank, she was my dream girl and had everything I was looking for in a girl. I thought our sex life was great. We had it every day, and she initiated it the majority of the time. We will go on dates every weekend, and our parents love each other. My marriage day was the happiest day of my life. But when COVID hit, it changed a lot. She lost her job, but since my new job is mostly remote and I made enough for the both of us, she began to gain a little weight, and she began to feel insecure about it. I told her bluntly that I love no matter how much weight she gains, and if anything, there's more of you to love. After the pandemic, she still couldn't find a job, so she started to go out with friends more and meet up with some of her old friends from college. She doesn't drink, so I wasn't worried about her, but after she came home, she began to ask more questions about my past. How many people did you sleep with? Are you still in contact with them? And how many? I didn't lie. I still had their contact in my phone, but she knew this. She also knew that one of my best friends was one of my co-stars that I slept with in multiple of my scenes. Let's call her Lisa. Me and Lisa left around the same time, and we just stayed as friends. We haven't slept with each other since due to the bad memories we both had with the industry. But Sarah knew this, and I told her that every time I meet with Lisa that she can come with me, or if you need me to stay home, I can. Sometimes she takes me up on that offer, or tells me she wants to stay home. I don't fight or fuss, I just agree with her. But now around this time, she didn't want me around any women. I told Lisa, and she understood, and she thought this was going to happen in the beginning of our relationship. This went on till 2022 when I grabbed her phone to use it for a second, and I noticed that she changed her password. I knew this wasn't good at all, because we never hide anything. I asked her to unlock her phone for me, and she said no. I was confused and I asked why. She told me, because I can't trust you. I asked why, and she said, because I know. Now I'm generally confused because I didn't do anything. So I asked what, and she began to yell and berate me, saying since I did porn all those years ago and my high body count, I must be cheating. After her yelling, I calmly asked her if you're cheating on me. She told me no, and she changed her password to set boundaries. I said to prove it, let's swap phones and let's see. She eagerly agreed, and we exchanged phones and searched. I found her girl group chat of them convincing her to cheat on me, but she was refusing, stating that she still loved me, but she felt conflicted. They were asking her flaws about me and what she can change about me. The only thing she said was my high sex drive, the size of my little me, and my relationship with Lisa. We have been going at once a day since we got serious, and again she initiate the sex. My size was new, because I always try to be careful with her, and she never told me this. In my relationship with Lisa, I completely understand if she does feel uncomfortable about it. Her friends began to twist her words and try to make it that I'm intentionally hurting her and I'm cheating with Lisa. Once I got done reading and looking at the GC, I looked up and I saw Sarah crying. I didn't yell at her, we talked it out. I asked her about the group chat, and she began to tell me that she has always been concerned about me leaving because of my past work and believed that I will cheat due to my relatively high body count and my thought to be high sex drive. Again, the sex was great and very passionate, but she did it for me, which I told her I appreciate, but she didn't need to have sex for my sake. Also, she told me I was the biggest she ever had, and at times it did hurt on occasion. I said sorry and I will work on it. After that, there was tension, but nothing too serious to end the relationship. In December of 2022, past co-stars began to start an OnlyFans, and they wished to have me on. Sarah saw these messages and asked about them. I said no to all that have reached out, and I told her that she can reply to any I missed. This went up till to the beginning of 2023, and Sarah grew distant because of these messages. I thought I understood how she felt till Lisa, at a bar with her friends, saw Sarah kissing a guy and left the bar. She called and showed me the pic she took. In my eyes, the relationship was over. She began to pack her stuff, and as soon as I was about to throw her shit in the front yard, she called me to pick her up. The guy she was with was married, and his wife found them in their bed, and the wife put her hands on Sarah. My natural instincts kicked in, and I flew across the city to get to her. I pulled up to her crying on the front door step with the man's wife standing behind her. The man's wife pulled me into the house and began to show the security footage of them having sex. Then the realization kicked in, and I remember she cheated on me. Sarah tried to plead her case and make excuses, but I wasn't having it. I told her to find a ride and pick your shit up in the front yard. I drove home, leaving my ex-wife crying at a random stranger's house. This led to today, she dragging on the divorce, trying to reconcile. She got her friends and some mutuals to take her side, stating that my relationship with Lisa drove us apart. My experience in bed drove us apart due to her not having that many bodies in the past, and the my size was hurting her, which her friends try to say it's abuse. Her friends try to file a police case on me, but thankfully the police threw it out. But I started to think Ada here. Update. Hello everyone. Sorry for the late response. I've been caught up on some things, and thank you for the support. I just came on here again to explain in better detail some things and why I did the post. For one, the contacts I had are old. I haven't been actively texting them, I just never changed my number. Majority have reached out before for small talk, but I never entertained them and kept the contacts short. I know I should have deleted them, but I never got around and did because again, me and Sarah knew they were texting me and she seemed okay with it. I wish I could show how transparent I was with my things with Sarah before she changed her password and that fight. We shared and at times actively used each other things, to the point that we wouldn't buy things for ourselves if the other person can't use it. This post all came from a mutual friend between me and Sarah, let's call him John. Me and John were watching the Nuggets game, and he began to ask how everything's had been. He knows that I have been struggling socially because of the divorce, and he tries to tell me about Sarah. Normally I will shut him down, but what he said put in another perspective, or rather caused me to think more in depth about it. John told me that she is in the wrong, but my past must have been eating her up on the inside. He said, imagine all the men who date or marry former or current porn stars. Imagine the thoughts that must race through their heads looking or seeing their wife interact with people from their past. I'm just wondering if I was too open with her. Should I have lied about my past? Now today I talked with John, and he told me again that Sarah just wants to talk to me. Since today, I haven't seen Sarah face to face since I caught her, the week after, and at the funeral at one of my best friends. After I finished throwing her things in the front yard, I packed some insecurities and stayed at one of my best friend's place that I considered a brother, let's call him Dave. Dave let me crash at his place for a week, and after the week I returned to my house. But when I got home, I saw her car in the driveway, and her things were out the front yard. I walk into the house, and Sarah runs up to me trying to act like nothing happened. I went outside and closed the door and went to my car and called Dave to come through as backup if she did something drastic. I didn't think she would because she didn't follow me outside, but I want to be safe, and I trusted Dave with my life. When he pulled up, I told him to stand behind me, and I opened the door, and Sarah was crying her eyes out on the floor. I was going to reach down and talk to her, but Dave grabbed me, stopping me. So I waited for her to stop crying, and she began to explain that I didn't really care for her, and my action showed. I asked how, and she stated that if I was a good husband, I would let her cheat and get away with it because I was cheating by having girls text my phone. Dave began to yell and berate her, saying that logic was dumb because I didn't do anything physical or emotional with those girls. But I stopped him and I just said, "Get your things and get out of my house." She said no. So I found her things and began to throw them out the house again. She didn't try to stop me. She just cried silently, just watching me do it. Once all her things were out of the house again, she walked out without saying anything. The next time we talked was at Dave's funeral. He passed away 2 months later because of a car accident. Easily the worst day of my life. The big three were me, him, and Lisa. During the funeral, me and Lisa were in the front with the family because we were all close. But Sarah sat behind me. She didn't say anything. She just was there. I began to become irritated, but Lisa beat me to it, confronting Sarah, turning her head around and asked Sarah, "Why is she here?" Sarah stated she had the right to be there because she knew Dave too. I told Lisa to not respond because she wasn't being difficult and let it go, because the funeral was bigger than me and her. After we left the grave site, Sarah walked up to me and apologized for cheating and wished to get back together. This was the closest I ever got to yelling at her ever, This is because she was trying to get me emotionally weak to talk to me. I told her to get out my face and contact me through lawyers. This leads to today, and I don't know if I should talk to her. I don't love her anymore, but it's hard to explain because I still care for her. I never want to get back with her, but should I hear her out? I know what she done is terrible and can never be forgiven, but I think she is mentally broken and I truly hate seeing her in that state. As of typing this, I reached out to John, and I'm gonna meet Sarah one last time for closure. I'll update this post if anything major happens. Update: I'm glad that I have met Sarah because now I have no feelings for this woman at all. You all have been right. John was not an ally or a friend. He had hidden objectives that I wished I saw sooner. John was close with a friend of Sarah, let's call her Katie. This will be important later. To get this started, John set up a dinner between me and Sarah, and I wished for him to not be there, in which he agreed, but I also told Lisa to be close by, or at least be in the area. Lisa agreed and stated that she will be at the restaurant before us and try to keep an eye on us. I arrived with Lisa, we rode separately, and I waited for Sarah. When Sarah arrived, I swear she looked 10x times better. Even though she clearly gained weight, it always seems it goes to the right places. She noticed, and she began to smile, and her eyes began to glow. I swear it seems like we feel in love again. When we walked in and were seated, I saw Lisa seated, and a guy trying to hit on her, but she was on the other side of the goddamn restaurant, and she couldn't see us. Once we were seated, realization hit, so I began to text Lisa, and she told me that she was going to use the guy to get closer to us. Me and Sarah began small talk while I kept an eye out for Lisa. Once the small talk was over, I gave up scouting for her and asked flat out, "Why did you do it?" Sarah began to say that ever since she reconnected with her old friends, they began to talk about old college stories and talk about their new partners. In college, Sarah was the designated driver in the group. Since she never drank and wasn't sleeping around and looking for hookups, she was kinda teased about it, saying she is stuck up and needs to let loose a little bit. And at one of these meetups, they showed pictures of their partners, Sarah being proud of our relationship, and this being the first time her old college friends knew or seeing me. Sarah began to show me and rub in their faces about me. I remember this night because I was at home, and she called me asking questions, basically showboating how close we are as a couple. The college friends, out of jealousy, began to look me up on some FBI agent shit and found out that I'm a former porn star. They asked Sarah about it, and Sarah didn't have a problem with my past until they started planting in her mind that I've been cheating and she could never satisfy me, and a whole bunch of nonsense. Sarah began to tear up and started apologizing about the situation. I told her to continue. She goes on saying that one of her friends, Katie, in one of their meetups, started talking about how great sex is with her new man, and everybody else jumped in and started to tell their stories. Sarah tried to sit this convo out, but was peer pressured into it. She told them the truth about how often we have sex and other sex life things. Katie then asked how big I am. Stray for this, but this is important. I remember in the first post that this seems like an elaborate dick flex, or something like that. It's not, as you can see from my story, that it has caused me more trouble than good. Sarah didn't say anything, but Katie and others threatened to pull up my old videos. Sarah folded and talked about it, and showed a picture of it. Her group of friends couldn't believe it, especially Katie. After that, they started chastising her, saying her man got a fake dick. Sarah said that this didn't bother her because she is used to this type of teasing, because this is like what boys do, and she is used to it because of male family members. After this, her friend convinced her to cheat, and basically that all her friends talked her through how to get back with me because, in her own words, they're the boy whisperers because they've been with tons of boys back in college. I was shocked when Sarah admitted that she was wrong and should have just talked to me first. She cut out all her friends, and now she has new ones. This brought me a sense of closure. As soon as I felt relaxed, Sarah asked me, did I ever cheat, and pointed behind me. I looked back and I saw Lisa a couple rows back still talking to this guy and his friends. I told her no, and I asked the inverse. She said not since she was caught. I said okay, and I asked, why are you taking so long on the divorce? She tells me that she still loves me, and she hopes to reconnect, and John told her that this is her best chance. I said no, I'm done. I asked for my check, and she just cried. I didn't want to ask any more questions. I got what I needed. I told her that she can leave and I'll cover for her. She just got up with tears in her eyes and said, I hope she's worth it, and walked away. At this point, I don't care. She walked to Lisa and called her a homewrecker. Once Sarah left, Lisa walked to my table and sat with me. The guy followed and tried to act tough with his friends. I'm 6'2" and built. I told them off. I filled Lisa in on what Sarah told me. Lisa kept it real and told me that neither of us can have regular relationships again. Once someone finds out about our past, they're either going to break up or it'll become some weird dynamic between the two built on distrust. I said maybe you were right, and we agreed to hit the bar and see where the night takes us. I agreed, and we went to the bar. Once I entered my car to drive off, I got a call from an unknown number. I picked up, and this girl immediately started to talk dirty to me. I said you got the wrong number, and she goes on and says my full government name. I asked who are you and what do you want? She said she wanted me and only me. I asked for a name and address to play along, and it was Katie, one of Sarah's college friends. I hung up and immediately called Lisa and told her to John's house because I believe that there is no way that doesn't have his hand in this. I called John and lied to see his reaction and said Katie ratted you out. He immediately started to apologize, saying that I was her idea and he just wanted her to quit talking about me because he had feelings for her, but he has been stuck in the friend zone. So his logic was to get with the girl he wanted. Have your friend sleep with her. I told him this and he said, no, she told me she wanted to talk to you if you didn't want to get back with Sarah. The pure stupidity infuriated me, and I told him he had 10 minutes to be either out of his house or ready to fight. I drove to John's house. Lisa was already outside, and she calmed me down and got me to get back in my car. Now I'm here 3 days later, and it feels like I've had a boulder lifted off my shoulders. I just hope that now Sarah doesn't drag her feet on the divorce anymore. Thank you to everyone who stuck around. Subscribe and like for more videos.